My grandmother's lawyer pulled me aside at her funeral and whispered she didn't die naturally. Then he told me not to tell my parents. That night, I found Grandma's notebook. Tea tasted bitter again. Heart racing after breakfast, Laura insisted on making it today. The next morning, my stepmother handed me a cup of tea and smiled. She didn't know Grandma had left me the evidence, hidden cameras were recording, and the police were watching from outside. Grandma Margaret was buried outside Seattle. She never made love feel like a transaction. At the cemetery, Dad and Laura stood near the fresh dirt whispering. Laura said, "If she went at the right time." Dad answered, "The papers have to be done before anyone starts asking questions." When they saw me looking, they stopped. Henry Caldwell, Grandma's lawyer, waited until people were leaving. "Come to my office," he said. "Whatever you do, don't tell your parents or your brother." Back at the house, Dad placed papers on the coffee table. "Healthcare and financial power of attorney," he said, "just so we can help if you need us." Laura smiled from behind him. "It's standard, sweetheart." The clauses were not standard. Substitute decision-making. Medical authority. Control if I was deemed unable to manage my affairs. I said I was exhausted and asked to sign tomorrow. Laura touched my shoulder. Her fingers were cold. The next morning, she poured coffee and said, "Drink this. It'll help." I didn't. I drove to Grandma's house instead. In her locked drawer, under bank papers and insurance forms, I found the notebook, dates, symptoms, tea notes. Laura insisted on making it today. Bitter, almost metallic. "If I go suddenly, check the tea and protect Peyton." My hands shook so badly I almost dropped the book. That night, I went to Henry's office. Marcus Reed was already there. Grandma had hired him months before because her tea tasted wrong. He showed me the lab report. Unidentified substance detected. Further analysis recommended. Then Henry opened the safe and handed me an envelope in Grandma's handwriting. "Peyton, if you're reading this, I'm gone. Trust Marcus. The drive has recordings. Don't let them take everything from you." On the flash drive, Grandma's voice was weak but clear. The tea was stronger today. My chest hurts. "Peyton, if you're hearing this, remember I love you. Don't let them win." I cried once. Then I asked Marcus, "What do we do?" He said, "We need them to move while we're watching." So I went home and acted tired. I told Dad and Laura I would sign the papers, but I wanted one family dinner first. Something for Grandma. Then I dragged them to the big market downtown for herbs, chicken, and wine, asking questions until Laura's patience wore thin. While we were gone, Marcus's team installed cameras in the kitchen and living room. The next morning, I sat at Grandma's kitchen table. Laura asked, "Want some tea? I can make her favorite blend." "Yes," I said, just like she used to. She filled the kettle, reached for the tea tin, then stepped toward the spice rack. A small glass vial flashed in her hand. White powder dropped into the teapot. I spilled the first cup on purpose. "I'm sorry," I said. "Can you make another?" Her jaw tightened. She made another. The powder went in again. This time the camera caught it clearly. Carried the cup into the living room, where Dad sat scrolling on his phone. Laura followed. "You should drink it before it gets cold," she said. I lifted it close enough to feel the steam. Then I set it down. Grandma knew everything. Laura's face went pale. Dad froze. I opened the live camera feed and turned it toward them. The screen showed Laura at the counter, vial in hand, powder falling into the tea. She left the notebook, the samples, the recordings. I said, "She knew you wanted the house, the insurance, and control of me." Laura stepped back. "That's not what it looks like." Dad stared at the screen. Then Laura snapped, "Daniel, tell her." He said nothing. "The papers weren't protection," I said. "They gave you medical control if I was declared incapable." Laura lunged for my phone. "It's too late," I said. "The footage already saved. And the police are outside." The doors opened before she could move again. Officers came through the front and back. Laura screamed that Dad planned it. Dad raised his hands and looked at me like sorry could still reach across a room. Ethan ran downstairs. "What's happening?" I took his hand. "They hurt Grandma." They tried to hurt me too. His face crumpled because he had not known. Months later, Dad was sentenced. Laura cooperated and still went to prison. I kept Grandma's house, but I couldn't live inside what they had done. So I turned it into a safe haven for women who needed somewhere to breathe. Grandma's teapot sits on my shelf now. It reminds me that some things are worth saving, and some people are only family until the truth starts boiling.